Uh, we're doing a film on the fabulously handsome at PSU.
Yeah, that's it.
See ya. Take care.
Have you
I
been involved with the African Student Alliance on campus at all?
no. I'm good friends with one of the guys that's on there, and we've been talking about. I've been kind of interested, kind of.
What's really interesting, because I've been involved with those guys, it's really interesting because many African students, want to sit there, just so you're comfortable, and keep an eye on it, obviously. They struggle, African students here struggle because they don't fit in with the black
Yeah, I
African
know.
guys.
Yeah,
It's a completely different culture.
yeah.
And you would be a really good bridge because you speak both languages.
Yeah, I'm trying that now. I'm friends with both sides. I would say most of my intimate friendships are probably with my brothers from Somalia and Ethiopia. I have a real affinity for my brothers from Ethiopia. You know, I'm a Christian, I'm a pastor, you know, the whole history, you know, so, you know, there's a fascination there. And oddly enough, I'm probably more close to them and my brothers from the Middle East than I am from the Black Americans. But I talk to them. And then I talk to my, you know, like sometimes, like you know, because they call me grandpa. Someone call me grandpa. I'll do what I call whole school on them. You know, I'll get a couple of the Black Americans, the young ones, a couple of my brothers from the Middle East, you know, are from Ethiopia or whatever, and I get them together and I'll talk to them. And I talk to them about the issue about why we don't communicate with each other, how do we view each other, and the sickness of that, in the fact that we are ignoring a resource, you know, that we can be a resource to each other in many ways, you know, starting with just being friends, just reuniting, just getting back together and say, hey, yeah, you my brother, you know, let's love on each other.
So tell me, do you ever, there are three classic symptoms of PTSD. There's re-experiencing the event, those kind of flashbacks, dreams,
Yeah.
stuff like that. There's shit like avoidance. There's certain places you just don't go. There's certain thoughts you don't have. Kind of a numbness. So there's avoidance, staying the hell away from stuff. Re-experience, in spite of your best efforts, you re-experience it. And then kind of where you're always on edge. You're always waiting for the next bad thing to happen.
I still struggle with that one.
Talk to me.
But the next, it's like a constant cloud that I push away, you know, but it always comes back. You know, that fucking cloud never goes away. That motherfucker follows me around you know, it's like my best friend. So I was in class the other day and they asked me, and they didn't know this. It was really interesting. It was an ethics class, counseling ethics. And we were talking about suicide. And so they asked me. They said, you know, the teacher asked if I would be willing to role play with them. You know, they were like you know, how to interview someone around suicide. And so I said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And so during the interview, he asked me, do I ever think about suicide? I said, hell yeah, I think about it. Suicide is my best friend. Suicide and I hang out. My partner, my road dog. I think about suicide every day. I think about it constantly. What he didn't know was I wasn't lying. I was role playing, but I was being me. There's a black cloud that follows me. Suicide is one of the thoughts. You know, it never leaves me. Never. I've learned to live with it for the most part, but it is draining. It's very draining, because I know that I have to fight it. in my dark moments, and I have a lot of them. If I don't stay aware of the fact that suicide is my enemy, one of these days I'm subject to like saying fuck it and embracing it, and in a moment do some real dumb shit, you know, that I have tried in the past, and do some dumb shit, and then that's it, you know, no more chances, you know. But it's my companion. It's, you know, it's my nemesis.
Do you ever have the experience of things like reliving the experiences, whether they are your third grade teacher,
Oh yeah.
rape? Do
Yeah.
you ever have where it sort of intrudes into your? What's it like? Give us an example. What it's like when it sort of intrudes into your life, or your flashback, or dreams. Tell us just.
It's intruding in your thoughts. It's like being raped. It's like a violation of the highest order. You're here, like I could be talking to a person, and depending on what that person's affect is, like I could see that guy, I could see that teacher, and they're there. They're just sitting right there in front of me. And it's like you get this tunnel vision. Everything around you just kind of blurs, and you're transported back in time, back in space, and you're back in that moment. You're that child that was violated. You're that young man that was violated again, and your whole body feels it. You know, everything you feel it. You feel your body actually feels it. The pain, the fear, the sweats, the nervousness, the terror, it's all right there. And the person in front of you is now this other person, and they're talking, and you don't hear. You might hear. Sometimes I hear what they're saying. Many times their words are not what they're saying. I'm hearing what they're saying, but I'm translating it. It's like speaking another language. When I used to live in Brazil, when I first came back from Brazil, I had to speak Portuguese all the time. Where I lived in a small town that was like Mayberry, RFD in Brazil. You know, everybody spoke Portuguese. When I first came back to America, I would think I was still thinking in Portuguese. So if someone would say something to me and I would answer them, sometimes I would slip and just answer them in Portuguese, but many times I would think of the answer in Portuguese and then think of how to say it in English and then say it in English. It's this transition. And so many times, like when you're re-experiencing, you know, a trauma, it's like a person is saying something to you, you know, like you initially hear what was said to you in the traumatic. You know, like there was a lot of verbalization in my traumas, a lot of verbalization, and I would hear the words of the trauma. Then I would recognize, or I do recognize, that no, they're saying something else. Then I have to translate that into what they're actually saying. And if I'm on a good day when this happens, on a good day, I can do an accurate translation, realize that they're not saying what I thought I just heard, and I can throw away what my mind is telling me I'm hearing. But my mind is saying, you know, they're calling you nigger, or, you know, like when this guy, he raped me, he would call me all kinds of horrible, you know, tar baby bitch, you're my tar baby bitch, or you some of it I don't even want to say, to be honest with you. But he would say these horrible things to me, and someone's saying something to me. They're not saying anything really necessarily horrible, but maybe they're angry at me, or they're saying something I don't like, and I'm hearing those other words. And I have to tell myself, they're not saying what you're hearing in your head. What you're hearing in your head, that's your head. That's a memory of something else. That's not what that person is saying to you. And I have to consciously tell myself that. it's tiring. It wears you out. You know, you walk away from that. I had a situation like that yesterday, in fact. And when I was in this office, and this lady was saying something to me. By the time this woman got done with me, because what she was saying to me was not in my favor, and it was some bad stuff and some things I have to go deal with. I went tear-assing out of that office. I mean, when I say I went tear-assing, I'm not talking about quickly walking out. I'm talking, I literally ran out, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure I actually knocked somebody down. I ran out, I ran over one of these sky bridges, and then here comes suicide, you know. Suicide's like, oh yeah, here's one of our moments, you know, we might be able to win. And I'm running across the sky bridge, and the suicide thoughts was like, you could just keep running and just jump right over this thing. So I swear, I could see myself doing it. I could say, yeah, all I would have to do when I get about 5 feet away, just take one bound. 1.5 seconds later, all of this pain will be over. And I won't have to think about it. All of those thoughts from Smith, from the Sky Bridge in Smith to the Graduate School of Education, from that, in that space, all those thoughts, I could jump over. And I ran in, so luckily, obviously I didn't. And I ran in, I ran up to see my advisor, who I have a great affection for. And I ran in, and he was in a meeting, and he could see it in my face. This dude he's in a very bad place, you know. So he he closed his meeting out, and he saw me, but I was shaking, I was sweating. I was in trauma. I was in trauma. I was in that moment. I was in trauma, and and I had to tell myself, the things that I thought I heard, I really didn't hear. I had to play back what was actually said to me. I had to push aside the suicide thoughts. It wears you down.
You ever have bad dreams?
Yeah, not as much anymore. Not as much anymore. I thank God for that.
Start with, I don't have as many bad dreams as I
Yeah, I don't have as many night terrors, nightmares, bad dreams as I used to. Every once in a while I still do. But I used to have night terrors where I would relive things, and I'd wake up. And I learned, this great therapist taught me some techniques, grounding techniques. But yeah, I would, sleep wasn't my friend either. I didn't like sleep. I still stay up way too late at night, because it's still, it's kind of ingrained in me. So I'm hesitant to, and now it's just a part of my DNA. I don't go to sleep until I have to. But it used to be I wouldn't, because I knew what was waiting for me. The bad dreams were waiting for me. The night, I